I'm getting the 3, 2, 1 from Zach here. Okay. So everybody, welcome. Oops, Zach, I did that same thing. I just pressed. Okay, here we go. Thanks everybody. Welcome to Frontier Friday. And is this our fourth one now, Zach? This is our fourth one in a row. There's a lot of dentists here from all over the country. And I understand it's 2 a.m. in Korea. So thank you very much for joining us from that part of the world. I know I have a client from Trinidad and Tobago, where I'm sure it's very nice there. And he's joining us. So really from everywhere. So thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us. And we trust you're all safe and healthy in these crazy and unprecedented times, and look forward when you can go back to doing what you love, and that's changing people's lives through healthy smiles. It sure seems like we're on the precipice of coming back. Tattoo parlors, beauty shops, bowling alleys are opening. Why not something that might be essential? Dentistry and oral health. So as we're getting ready to go back, at the lab, we've been open this whole time serving emergency clients. Let me cover a few things. First, I guess let me introduce myself. You're obviously on here through Joyce and through Gil Frontier Dental. I'm Gil Villavicere. You'll know me better as Gil Frontier Dental. I'm actually legally thinking about changing my name because it'll make it easier for all of us. So I handle everything on the outside of the lab, including our social media and all of our marketing efforts. And then Brent, my business partner, handles everything inside the lab with his team of smile designers and ceramists. So why webinars, you ask? My concept from the start of when dentistry went on lockdown was we wanted to bring value to you, our clients and potential clients. We can't make as many teeth as we used to. So let's bring more value and give you the best speakers to help you come out of, I call it AC after Corona, a better, well-equipped dentist. I want you to feel like you've invested in travel to Orlando at the AACD, which was supposed to be there this year, and see and hear from one of the best in dentistry today. So due to COVID, we're bringing Dr. Joyce to you, who I'll introduce you in just a minute, in your living room while you're in your sweats or pajamas, hair don't care, dog in your lap, and possibly a Bloody Mary within reach. How's that sound to learn from one of the best to have all that next to you here? So when we started the series several weeks ago with Dr. Nash, none of us had any idea how long the closures would last. We provided you with a lot of clinical tips and world-class clinicians in Dr. Nash, Dr. Soto, Dr. Harris, and also Brent West, known as Brent Frontier Dental, giving his technical expertise. So when Dr. Joyce and I started talking about webinars a few weeks back and what value we could provide, it's actually a very good timing that today we're bringing you the social media playbook. How to use social media to build a powerful brand and craft an Instagram presence that brings in patients. We really need that right now. And here's why. Now, especially AC after Corona, it's going to be really important for your patients and community to get to know you before they come in or give them a reason to come in. You as dentists are going to be wearing PPEs, spacesuits. You've already seen the pictures. You're going to be all masked up with your loops, with a face shield. You're not going to be as accessible in a dentist's office as you were before. So you may not have the opportunity to give your patients a hug, to shake their hand. They won't comment on your shoes and all those kind of things. That makes it a very personal thing. So as Dr. Joyce will explain here in a minute, it's going to be very important now in this different, brave new world to build your brand so that people can see you. So a couple of housekeeping items before I introduce Dr. Joyce. We're scheduled for an hour today, but I'm sure it'll run over as our other webinars have. She'll have a lot of information to share, and we want to get her through her entire presentation. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen. My colleague, Zach, who's sitting across from me, will tabulate, and we'll make sure we get to every question at the end. So we may run a little bit over. Also, change your gallery view up here to make sure that the speakers aren't jumping up and down off the screen as we're talking, because this will be very interactive between Dr. Joyce and I. And lastly, if you have any shout outs and you want to shout out what you're seeing, just tag Dr. Joyce and I, and we'll make sure that gets out to our followers, which is probably over 50,000 combined, right? So that should work out really good. Last piece of housekeeping, after the webinar is complete, if you've hung in here with us, you'll be receiving an email with a link to Dr. Joyce's book that we promised, which is Instagram Marketing for the Modern Dentist. There's also a bonus planning a photo shoot guide that Dr. Joyce came up with. As you can see from her picture, she knows what she's doing with photo shoots. And then you'll also have access to other brand building workshops and courses that Dr. Joyce has thoughtfully put together. So lots of things for you here, but let's get to some information. So let me go ahead and introduce Dr. Joyce. It's with great pleasure to introduce our featured guest, Dr. Joyce Kong, AKA Joyce the Dentist. So I guess right there she is. I actually met Dr. Kong through Instagram. We were both members of the Mutual Admiration Society, were we not, Dr. Joyce?
We were.
Okay. After we felt like we knew each other through our brands and our Insta personas that we've created, we decided to meet IRL, in real life. You'll learn some of those acronyms with Dr. Joyce's presentation. Ever since, we've exchanged ideas. We've obviously worked on some great cosmetic cases together. She's an accomplished cosmetic dentist, and then we've done some really cool cases that she features on her site as well as on her virtual Smiles of OC site. We had a few happy hours, maybe several. What do you think? We lost count. And we've collaborated on some really interesting projects. So she's the owner of a boutique-styled restorative focused practice in Costa Mesa. You can actually smell the ocean air from her lovely office. She was recently named America's top 40 dentists under 40, and they wrote, quote, one of America's brightest, most innovative, and most interesting young dentists. I wholeheartedly agree. She's a recently retired professor from USC. Retired and under 40? How did that work, Dr. Joyce? She grew her Instagram following from 0 to 12,000 in 1 year, and she utilizes Instagram to drive consistent leads to her practice for both general patients and on Smile Virtual, which she'll go over here in a while. So I'm proud to call Dr. Joyce a client with Frontier Dental Lab, an advisor, an ambassador, and most importantly, a very good friend. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Joyce Kong. All yours, Dr. Joyce. Thank you very much. You're the one they came to see.
Awesome. Let me share my screen. Is that good?
Looks good to us.
Okay. I have my notes. Okay, well, first of all, thank you for hosting this Frontier Dental. And also thank you to everyone who's come and taken time out of your day to join me here. I think I got a text from my friend this morning and she told me she woke up an hour early for me. So it's much appreciated. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. Joyce Kong, Joyce the Dentist, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics in the whole wide world, social media. All right, so these are the topics for today. Let's jump right in because it's quite impossible to fit everything into 45 minutes, but I'm going to try my best. Today, Gil and I really wanted to narrow down our subjects to the questions we get asked most by dentists who are wanting to start growing their brand. Anything I didn't cover, save for the question and answer afterwards. So let's talk about what it means to grow a powerful brand as a dentist. Question, since when did dentists actually need to have a brand? And what does it mean to even have a brand? We know that branding is super important for like handbags and yoga pants and tennis shoes, but I find dentists don't really understand why they need to have a brand for themselves. So let's dissect what a brand really is in the light of dentistry. Is it like a logo, how popular you are, or how many followers you have? Okay, so this is my definition. This is what I've defined as a brand. It's how you make someone feel before they step into your office, like a potential patient. They feel like they know you, and people like to do business with other people they know, like, and trust. What does this look like in action? Well, actually, Gil mentioned, Gil and I are living proof of this. And Gil, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, sorry. Sure. But I met Gil on Instagram before I started using Frontier. I think Gil is kind of like the perfect example of someone who's grown a brand. What a brand really does is it helps you capture people's attention. It's like the real estate that you take up in people's minds. So when you think of yoga pants, you think of Lululemon, or at least like I do. And When you think of a lab, you automatically think of Frontier. And if you're a dentist, patients should be thinking of you first. So how do we do this? I mean, it sounds hard, but it's actually a lot more simple than what people think. It's all about showing up. We show up and continue to show up. So like Gil Frontier Dental shows up on my Instagram feed in some way, shape, or form every single day to remind me that he's there. And he's not like in my DMs selling me veneers or anything like that. He never lets another lab occupy that real estate in my mind. So he's just like always showing up. You see how that works? And if you're practicing in California like I am, and the market is incredibly saturated, you need to find a way to stand out, but also stay at top of mind all the time. And that's what a brand is going to help you do.
So if I can elaborate on that, Joyce, exactly what you said. And all I'm trying to do, I haven't sold anything, right? I don't say veneers, here's the special, or buy one, get some free. All I'm saying is here we are. I know our food is good if we were a restaurant, our restorations are good, but here's our brand, here's our brand, here's our brand. And all I'm doing is dropping breadcrumbs. And as a dentist, you're perfect at this. You're dropping breadcrumbs in hopes that one person picks it up that becomes your patient, right? And what did you say the percentage of patients you get through Instagram marketing?
I get about like 70% of my patients through Instagram in some way, shape, or form.
That's amazing. And that shows the brand. Imagine if I was Gil and I showed up at your office and knocked on the door and said, "Hi, I'm Gil from ABC Dental. Can I have a minute with you, Dr. Kong? Obviously your receptionist probably wouldn't even let me get in because she obviously doesn't know my brand, right?" So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm creating the brand, the persona that says, here we are, we do good work, we're approachable, we're nice people, we're actually a little bit of fun too. And like you said, every morning when you wake up, I want you to know I'm not far from you. I'm a DM away, right?
Yeah, you're really good at it. Like you're not selling anything, you're just like showing up all the time.
Thank you. Well, you gave me a lot of good ideas early on after we met, so I appreciate that.
Thanks. All right, Rosa. Okay, so with as far as building your brand, you have to do this because let's be real here. Here's the harsh truth: if you don't start building your brand, without a brand, what we do is purely perceived as a commodity. And it sucks. It sucks for us dentists to hear that, but I'll be the first to recognize that without my brand, Joyce the dentist, I'm just a small neighborhood dentist. A small neighborhood dentist. I'm not afraid to say that. Like, let's just say it as it is. There's nothing special about me. Sure, I put rubber dam on all of my fillings, but to a patient, I do fillings and crowns. So because I've grown my brand, I'm able to use this platform to attract patients to my practice. Ultimately, all of our efforts on social media should be to attract patients to our practices. A common misconception about Instagram is that the goal is to be popular, and that's not the goal. That's something that will help you establish yourself, but ultimately, the real reason for spending all this time and effort is to attract patients to your practice so that you can help them, so that you can be an amazing dentist for them. And if you don't do this to differentiate yourself, if you don't start putting yourself out there, it's going to be really hard for patients to find you because everyone is joining the game. And the sad thing is, I mean, this is sad. You could be the best dentist in the world, in your opinion. But if you're not findable, your skills are going to waste. Like being a really good dentist, it's meaningless if you don't have patients. All right, so here's the good news and the bad news. This is applicable to anyone, no matter where you are in your journey. Growing a brand will level the playing field, which is good news for some and really bad news for others. This may be a disadvantage for established dentists who are not staying relevant. And this is a huge advantage for younger dentists who want to attract new patients and are more motivated to do so. So a lot of dentists actually, like pre-dents and dental students, already have a head start on this and an advantage. So it's literally a fight right now to capture people's attention. And if you're not participating right now, you will have to work that much harder, and you will have that much more competition when you finally accept that social media is here to stay. And I hope we don't have to talk about the fact that social media is here to stay. Like, that's, everyone knows that, right? So the sooner you start, the better. And I know that for a lot of business owners, this is just like one more thing we have to deal with, like one more thing they didn't teach in dental school. And one more thing you have to do not to become antiquated and just to do the dentistry that you love. Being a business owner is hard, and it means ever evolving with the times. So you just have to start now, especially because it takes time for your brand to grow. Like, it takes time to put into your brand, but it also takes your time for the brand to grow itself. It's like stocks, plants, pets, like things take time to grow. So let's embrace the gift of time during COVID and start hustling so that we have a solid foundation for when we open back up. If COVID has made you realize anything, it's that we need our virtual reach right now more than ever. All right, so let's talk Instagram. That's the platform of the hour. I know that's why a lot of you are here. But really, in the end, what I want to help people with is to shift their mind about the way they think about these things. Us dentists are so obsessed with like teeth and millimeters and bonding agents and things like that. But take a step back. What does your practice offer in the absence of dentistry? This webinar should help you to get in the correct mindset to rock any platform. Today it's Instagram, but it may not be Instagram forever. But whatever it is in the social world, you should be able to pivot. The ability to pivot for yourself and your business is so, so important. To me, Instagram and the time that I spend on Instagram, it's an investment. And that's how I get started right away with offering Smile Virtual or Virtual Smile consults. Like in the last week, I did 10 consults and we're closed. The consults keep coming in. And if you have reach, literally anything is possible. Okay, so again, there is so much to talk about. So let's talk about things to consider when designing your Instagram. First, brainstorm a little bit about how you want to show up on this platform. There are so many ways to bring your own flavor and personality. So you definitely don't have to do it the way that I've done it, like all pink and whatever. What's important though is that you have a strategy and a reason. All right, let me explain to you the rationale behind my Instagram strategy. First of all, my Instagram is a business account. It's a question that I get asked often. I do that because a business account is going to allow you to have access to your analytics. And some say that a business account is not going to perform as well because Instagram wants you to ultimately like pay to play. But for me, the analytics are invaluable. They tell me when my audience is online, the best time to post, the types of people who follow me broken down into gender, where they live. If you're using Instagram to grow your business, you need to have data to see what performs well and what doesn't so that you can optimize all of your efforts. Like, we're not just throwing darts and hoping to go viral, right? Like, we're not that bored. We're not bored dentists. We need to have a system or a way to evaluate our efforts. As far as handles go, I chose Joyce the Dentist instead of Orange and Magnolia Dental Studio, which is like my practice name. And that's because people want to connect with other people. That's not like an Instagram secret. It's just human nature. It's the reason why Gil is Gil Frontier Dental, not just Frontier Dental Lab. Like, what were you thinking when you thought of that, Gil?
Good question. We actually used to have a site called Frontier Dental Lab. And in the years that was managed by other people, which I know you'll get into that, it was managed by other people within the company, we never were able to talk to dentists. And that's what I'm in the business of, is creating relationships with dentists, right? You know, relationships produce results. And we're not here just trying to sell lab stuff, if you will. So when I chose Gil Frontier Dental, I wanted somebody like Dr. Joyce Kong, when she was going to look up and make that all-important decision to send a DM to say, hey, I'm interested in your lab. Didn't you feel a lot better knowing that you were speaking with Gil, the guy whose picture you see, the dog that I have, the food that I eat, the whatever it is that we're showing, and the teeth that we show? Didn't you feel a lot better dealing with Gil with a person rather than a company.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
So
It
that's the whole
totally
concept behind
personalizes it.
it. Hmm.
Yeah, so not only that, Joyce the dentist, my handle is easier to remember than my full last name. Us doctors sometimes have names that are really hard to spell and pronounce. So my last name's only like 5 letters, but people often misspell it. If that's the case for you too, you want to remove barriers to people finding you. This Instagram, this is essentially your digital business card. Your Instagram has your phone number, your address, website link. This is the key to becoming your patient. But it's actually like simplified in a way where it's easy for patients to remember you and easy to transfer that information from one person to the next through word of mouth. My patients actually like just tell their friends their dentist is Joyce the dentist. And that's how my information is transferred from one patient to the next. It's that easy. So the key things to any handle is it should be memorable, it should be easy to spell, and it should be very, very clear what you do. Okay. All right, so another commonly asked question. Yes, I do all of my Instagramming by myself. Like I don't have an Instagram assistant and I love it. I hope people can tell that I love doing this. It's free
Passion shows.
marketing for my dental practice.
Yeah.
And I don't pay another company to do it. I don't use a bot. I don't buy followers. Yes, doing it like this is time consuming and we all have businesses and families we'd rather tend to, but there is no company out there that can convey your message the way that you authentically can. Plus, I think, like I've heard it's really expensive to use a company like this. Is that right?
Yes, like we discussed the other day, Dr. Joyce, I've had companies approach me saying, "Hey, can we have access to your dentist, and we can offer these services to your dentist?" And those range anywhere from $800 to $1,500. And obviously, I'm not in the business of promoting other companies to do work for my dentist. If I can help them, then that's great. And so I think your most important statement here is it's got to be genuine, authentic, that nobody can represent you like you can. So true. And again, once again, if I'm a person in the community and I live in Costa Mesa and I need a dentist, I'm going to say, wow, I know that if I hit her up, it's going to be Dr. Joyce that I'm talking to. I know what she looks like, what she sounds like. I know her interests, and I know she sounds like a very caring person. So that's what I would look at, and that's hence the importance of your brand and the representation in your persona.
Yeah, I mean, these companies can get so expensive. What you were saying, I think that's per month, right? Like 500,
Yeah,
800.
and it's very generic.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so I feel like with those companies or automated services, they emphasize account growth and follower count, which don't get me wrong, it's really nice to see your follower count go up. It's like a satisfying reflection that the time and effort that we're spending on the platform is working. But that is only the case if you're growing your account organically. Otherwise, a lot of these followers are dead or abandoned accounts, and they're obviously not going to convert into patients in your practice. So if you're outsourcing your social media, your reach might be inflated by vanity metrics. Obviously, you have to think these social media companies want to show you that they're doing their job by showing you an increased follower count, which is what like so many people are focused in on. If only you knew how easy it is to buy followers. And I know this because I've done it. Not on Joyce the Dentist, because Joyce the Dentist is like my baby and it's like triple password protected, but I've done it. I have lots of accounts and I try out all the different strategies. I've bought followers with the click of a button. It's so easy. I've utilized automated services. It's interesting to see how it affects your organic growth, because Instagram is smart. Instagram knows that you're doing something shady and they'll literally prevent you from growing. Plus, those followers are not going to help generate more leads to your business, which is like the whole point of this whole thing. You can, however, outsource some things. Like, for example, you can hire someone to help you around the office to get social media content so that you can focus on working. Like, actually, right before COVID, I hired someone to help me record patient testimonials and like footage of procedures. So I'll have to call him when we open back up. I was so excited for that, by the way. And shout out to Zach Romo, who works side by side with Gil. He actually helped set up this whole webinar, all the tech stuff. So thank you, Zach. But the point is, there are certain things that you can definitely get help with, but I would still run your own account. Honestly, growing on Instagram is not easy these days. I want to be upfront about that because it's not everyone's cup of tea. And it's not like the good old days, like circa 2014. Like you see people with 200,000 followers, and honestly, if you start now, you're probably never going to get there. And it can be frustrating when the time and energy you put in doesn't seem like it's amounting to anything. So that's why we have to kind of remove ourselves from these vanity metrics. Just remember to keep perspective and follow in Gil's footsteps. Show up every day. Stay at top of mind for those potential patients who are following you, and be consistent to improve your reach to new eyeballs. They may not call you that day to schedule an appointment, but if you keep taking up that real estate in their mind, it's a matter of time before they call you.
Where did I learn all these from, Joyce? I think, was it happy hour number 3 or number 2? I learned it from somebody.
Talk about Instagram a lot.
Yeah, I just happened to apply it. And that's what everybody on here can do, is listen to what she has to say and apply. And that's what I did. Just very briefly, when I first started Instagram, and it was about the same time as you in January, I didn't even know what a hashtag was. I was never on FaceChat or Snapbook. I think those are social media sites, right? And so I had to learn. And Joyce was one of the people I've learned from, and I'll always have gratitude for that because she taught me a lot. And again, it's one thing to teach somebody, but it's another thing you have to apply it. And I hope that's what you guys can take away here once you hear Joyce today. So thank you for that.
Aw, thanks, Gil. Let's go to I think we're done with this one. So, okay, while we're on this topic, I just want to briefly touch on how impactful Instagram is for your reputation. Like, how many of you guys hate Yelp? With Instagram, you're putting out the content you want people to see. You follow and engage with the people you want to. You don't like a comment that someone leaves you, you can delete it. You have control again. You define your own boundaries and create that happy place. And this is so, so important, you guys, because we live in a world where as doctors, we depend a lot on what other people are saying through review sites like Yelp or Google or testimonials. But depending on others is always a double-edged sword. Yes, social media is important for our businesses, but I don't know about you. I didn't spend 6 years investing into my education to let other people dictate what kind of doctor I am. Review sites like Yelp, combined with HIPAA regulations, have really taken away our power and our control. But Instagram is a great way to get that back because dentists, my friends, we are way too smart to let Karen have control over our narrative. My Instagram is curated. It's curated so that patients see what I want them to see. All right. The interesting thing about my Instagram is that I'm obviously a dentist, but I have no pictures of teeth on my Instagram.
That's amazing.
A lot of people are like, about that. And yet I'm able to bring in quite a lot of patients through it because I've built my presence around how a consumer would want to receive information, not like how a dentist would want to receive it. So we need to stop thinking like dentists. So who is your consumer? You should have this dialed in. Your ideal patient should be mapped out very specifically. Mine is what you'd probably guess from being on my Instagram. 30s to 40s female, drives a Range Rover, a Tesla, does a 5 a.m. Orange Theory Pilates class or has a Peloton, not afraid of a little Botox or filler, pays for organic, no exceptions, owns her own business, supports other women. Like, those are my people. And from there, you reverse engineer your content to attract that person. That's the reason why my page looks like a blogger's Instagram page and not a dentist's. And that's the reason I talk about the things I talk about, like being a woman in business. And that's the reason behind every single post. Not everything I do or write has to do with dentistry, you may have noticed, but everything I write will be attractive or appealing to that specific woman. And doing this is not going to limit you, by the way. You'll get plenty of people to your account who are not that woman. That's a question I get really often. By the way, if you're a specialist, your content is going to be different than like a GP, right? For example, if you guys follow my friends like Her Holiness the Pulp or Perry Endo, they're endodontists. So they post x-rays. Whereas like a GP, you may not want to post x-rays. Or if you're like a pediatric dentist, you may want to tailor your content so that you're attracting more of like the mom or like the female GP, the mom and the female GP. So you have to change up your content. You can't just put out generic content like that to attract everyone. And remember, the most important thing that we kind of touched on already is we're attracting these people by sharing about ourselves, personal things, but also education. Nowhere in my entire Instagram is there a moment of me selling anything. I'm just strategically sharing. Never am I out there asking people to come to my office or like call me when your tooth breaks. We're not spilling our guts and we're like not telling our life story either. So be careful of that. Never am I out there doing those things, but I will be waiting. I'll be waiting when they decide they want a new dentist who is cool and wears a really cute pink scrubs with golden goose sneakers and knows what's up. I'll be waiting. So obviously there are a lot of bloggers and influencers who are in my target audience and they're attracted to my page because we're speaking the same language. And honestly, that's been great for my practice because they come to my office, they shout me out on Instagram, and that builds momentum for me to grow not only on Instagram, but it helps connect me to their followers and audience. Like this girl over here, Renee, she has shouted me out so many times and a whole bunch of her followers have come into the office to get their teeth whitened so that they can have a smile like hers. And is like this whole thing necessary? Like if you're at home and you're thinking, but Joyce, I'm a 50s male and I don't wear pink quartz things. Well, what I mentioned is my strategy and that's what's authentic to me. It's my way of building hype for my dental office. But anyone can do this. Anyone can build hype. Like Gil, no offense, Gil. Gil doesn't look like me, but Gil spent all week building hype about me, which is thankfully what got all of you guys here. So the ability to build hype is a huge part of the equation. It's like a skill they don't teach in dental school. And it's a skill that like dentists are kind of like weird about because we're taught to let our work stand for itself. But we need to build hype for our dental offices because we want our dental offices to be destinations, right? Like I always tell people I want my dental office to be like the splash mountain of dental practices, like the dental office that everyone is the most excited for. That like one ride that you cannot skip at Disneyland, even if you're all the way across the theme park, you're gonna go to that one ride. By the way, this is something I hear a lot too. So side note, you have to stop thinking that this is easier for other people. You know, that's a mindset trap. You have to stop thinking, oh, well, it's easier for Joyce. It's easier for Gil. It's not easier for anyone else. If you only knew how nervous I was to do my first Insta story, and I was literally shaking during my first live, but I've pushed myself to grow on this platform because I know how important social media is going forward. And that's also why I know that anyone can do it. You just have to put yourself out there. Okay, and just to go back a little bit, now that I've told you guys my ideal target audience, that should be reflected in my analytics if I'm doing it right? So let's go back and see how far, there we go. So as you can see, my analytics show that my followers are mostly from California. They're women, they're in the age range that I'm targeting. I mean, it should be because my content is driven to attract that woman. Okay, I think we're done with that. All right, so that's my strategy. Now let's take a step back and let's talk about what you're posting. And I want you to be really honest with yourselves. Is it generic content? Like this beautiful photo here that I got on Google. Is it a picture of a tooth with like someone's hairy mustache around it, or group photos with staff, or a picture of you with your friends, inspirational quote like your dog? You can post anything really, but should you? Who do you think is going to be attracted to your Instagram? I'm asking a very serious question. Because if you're like a lot of dentist Instagram pages I've seen, you're mostly attracting other dentists. And ugh, that kills me, you guys. Here's the thing. It's essential to grow a community on here with other dentists to support you and you support them. But never forget that the point of your Instagram page is to attract potential patients, not to show off to your peers or to like, you know, I just wanted to make a point on that. Let's go to the next thing. So if you started your Instagram and it's not gaining traction, I want you to remember what to do next. This is a very simple way of thinking about it. Remember what kind of platform Instagram is. Instagram is a dynamic platform, it's a visual platform, and it's a relationship building platform. So what does this mean practically? Dynamic platform. If you are a newer account, you need to post frequently to bring traffic in, minimum 3 times a week. The more the better, because you have to think Instagram wants people to stay on their platform longer. So they need more content uploaded daily. And this is not just a website that lives out there in outer space. It needs constant attention. Yes, this can be time consuming, especially when we're busy running our practices, but there are ways to batch content and be prepared. It's kind of like meal prepping. You need to meal prep so that you're successful for the week. So you can do the same thing with Instagram. The second thing is that it's a visual platform. So don't post generic content, please. Don't post ugly, dim lit photos. That kills me. Only post the photos on your feed that will make someone stop scrolling. Scrolling is like when you're going through Instagram and you see like all the pictures that people are posting and you're just scrolling until there's a picture that makes you stop. Because if you don't make someone stop scrolling with your photo, no one's going to read all that valuable content that you just spent hours writing. Side note, it's important to be consistent with posting, like I had mentioned, but don't just post to post. It's like a fine balance. Your feed should be a living reflection of how you want your potential patient to feel about you. So let's say a potential patient was stopping by your feed today to do an audit. Would they want to be a patient of yours? No. That's why generic content, it's not going to turn people off, but it's not going to turn them on either. Like they're not going to follow you. It is really like a fine line when you decide how much to post versus like quality content. For me personally, I know that I needed to post more in my journey. Like for people who started where I did, if they posted more, I know that they've kind of like lapped me already. So my account could be much bigger right now if I had posted more. But what was important to me is that I put out content that I loved. So if you look at my content, it's long form. A lot of time it's like an essay. My husband's always like, take your content and like cut it in half, please. It's too long. But that's my style and that's what I like to see on my own Instagram. And so at a certain point I had to decide between quality or quantity, and I chose quality. Now I do recommend some amount of quality in everything that you post, but if you're like skimping on the quality, you need to stop and take a step back and realize that the whole point is to make sure that when a patient comes, they're going to want to be your patient and they're going to want you to be their dentist. All right, so the last thing is that it's a relationship building platform, which means you need to spend time engaging with other people. And this is probably the biggest mistake I see people make. They write something amazing, pair it with a nice photo, and then they hit send and they think it's over. No, that's just the beginning. So yes, we gotta talk to people. Like what? Yes, just like in real life, give someone else some love, like and comment on their stuff too. You know, that's how you get the ball rolling with Instagram. If you just hit send and you're like, why isn't anyone coming to my awesome post? That's quite frankly like a selfish way to live. Collaboration is definitely the best way to accelerate growth on this platform. If you're just sitting and waiting for people to come and comment on your stuff and you don't even have like the thought to say thank you for that comment, thank you for taking time out of your day to engage with me, I appreciate you. You need to realize that a person, it's like a real person on the other side of the screen who just took time out of their day to talk to you. And this is where I spend the majority of my time on Instagram. And even though, you know, this is like what I spend all my time doing, I still miss DMs and I still miss comments. It's just, people will know though that if they come and comment on my post within like the first couple hours, I will respond back because I've made it a point to do that. Okay, not last, but the last thing I want to talk about is showing up, because it's easier said than done. Last year, I wrote a book on Instagram because so many of my friends asked me how I grew my Instagram page and like got kind of sick of it. So I just wrote it down in a book and I like gave it to them on a silver platter. So I gave them the answers, no BS. How many people do you think actually took my advice and started showing up? Like how many? How many? Learning all about Instagram is the easy part. Starting and doing is the hard part. And I find this particularly hard for dentists because it's our personality type. We're very type A. We're very critical species. Like we're really hard on ourselves. And if you're like me, I'm hard on my spouse too. So it's not easy when we're battling our personality type. Now, let me ask you a question and be really honest. Let's be honest here. How many times have you seen someone else's dental work on Instagram and picked it apart? Don't let me be the only one raising my hand. It's kind of rough to admit because it makes you feel like a horrible person, but everyone's done it. And in a way, that's what we're trained to do, so that we can always improve ourselves. But we don't need to inject ego or rudeness into what we're doing here on this platform. And that's the very thing that prevents a lot of dentists from fully showing up on this platform. It's because we're scared. We're scared. We're scared of each other. We're scared of each other. That's sad. We don't like being judged. We don't like being vulnerable. We're perfectionists and we put very, very high standards on everything that we do. And that's great. But if that is what's stopping you from doing what needs to be done for your business, then that's a problem. So the next time you see someone showing up on Instagram, posting cases, or a photo of themselves, like an Instagram story, being vulnerable, acknowledge them. We put so many self-imposed limitations on ourselves. Acknowledge the courage that it takes to show up on a platform like this. And kudos to people for showing up, for pushing themselves and rising to the occasion for their businesses. So remember, if you're not showing up on Instagram yet, extend some grace because now it's your turn. All right, that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Joyce. Can you hear the applause from all over the world? I see people from Cambodia, Indonesia, California right here. So
that's crazy.
Great information. So I'm just going to go through these questions. I think you've covered some of them, but I've got some questions here and I'll just go through these. Hi, Joyce. Love your work. Building a brand as an associate. The goal is to own a solo practice at some point. Any recommendations?
Yeah. Just because you're an associate doesn't mean that you can't do this as well. Like my dental assistant wants to go to dental school and she's already started building her Instagram presence. Like it's never too late. You always want to start building your brand yesterday. So now is like the perfect time because by the time, like if your aspiration is to own your own practice, you want to have built that brand and that following and that reach before you actually open your own practice. That's something that I wish I did. And actually everything that I mentioned in this presentation and with Instagram in general, this is all stuff that I had to figure out all by myself when I bought my practice. I was totally one of those dentists where I was like such a nerd about dentistry, about bonding agents. Like I was nerding out about dentistry. And I thought that if I just did good work people would come. So it's kind of a mind shift that I made. You have to be able to promote yourself or find a way to humbly promote yourself on a platform, on an online platform to reach potential patients. And there is no better way than to start when you're an associate. Start posting about yourself. And yeah, I don't see a problem with it, with doing it as an associate. It's like the best time to do it.
It's never too late, like you said, right? And you know, do you remember one of our early meetings? I said, how do I even get started here? And I was just kind of getting started, and I kind of felt paralyzed. And like you said, didn't want to show vulnerability and that kind of thing. And you said, just do what you do, but you can control the narrative. I think that was a very important point that you made earlier. So there's a couple questions in here.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second about the controlling the narrative. Like my first Insta story, by the way, I recorded it probably 50 times. I recorded it, delete, record, delete. And then I just couldn't get it right because I wasn't used to talking to the camera. So you can record as many times as you want. Like there's no pressure. There's absolutely no pressure when it comes to Insta stories. Do it until you feel comfortable and then post the one that you think you did the best on.
Then after, once you get comfortable, then it's just go, and just whatever comes to mind, right? I mean, I see how you work, you see how I work. We just, whatever comes to mind. So here's a couple. Do you use Instagram presets? What, in your opinion, is the most aesthetic Instagram page layout?
I go back and forth between Instagram presets.
First, explain what presets are to some people that may not be fully versed at that.
So presets are like the filter. So when we look at Instagram, we're oftentimes looking at an image, but, oh, should I close my presentation, by the way?
We're going to have the presentation recorded.
To the full screen?
Yes.
Oh, because I was going to show you like.
Yeah, it's still on there.
Okay, so you can see, not this one. So you can see, sometimes when we're scrolling on Instagram, we just see like the one individual photo, but when you take a bird's eye view, you want your whole feed to look cohesive. Like you don't have to, this is definitely extra. But when I evaluate my feed, I look at it from a bird's eye view and I use apps to do this. And the app that I use is Planoly. I think a lot of people know about that, but then you can see what the photos look like next to each other. For example, like you don't want like a selfie next to another selfie, or you want like something where you're standing next to other people next to a selfie. I don't know. You just break up the feed like that. And then the filter is filtering so that it has like that little haze. Like this picture, for example, raw, it's like this wall is yellow, even though it's white in my office, but it's just the way that the photography is. You can use all these filters to adjust the color settings. I don't particularly use a setting or a preset right now. And it's just because every time I put the photo into the preset, like depending on where the photo came from, like if it's a photo I took from my camera, from my iPhone, or if it's like a professional photo, it ends up looking different. So I haven't really subscribed to the preset, but I definitely filter my photos so that it looks good.
I mean, you put that much thought into every photo, right? To make sure that it has the aesthetic appeal that you're looking for, matches your page and everything.
Again, this is so extra. You don't have to do this, but for me, I'm kind of like I'm OCD about being aesthetically oriented. And if your feed is ugly, like that would kill me inside.
Yeah.
Like me personally, I want to come to my feed and be like really proud, like, oh, this looks so good. And it's autopilot for me too. Like I don't even think twice. I just put the picture in. I just blah, 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 blah. Like that looks good. I can post.
Okay. We have a lot of questions about photography. So how did you find your videographer and how much did you have to invest? One of your videographers is sitting right across from me here.
Oh, like Zach? Okay, so I don't have a videographer, but Zach did do one of my videos. It's the Frontier one, like about my office one. Zach did that one.
Yeah, so that was all produced in-house here.
That was fun. Gil and Zach did that for me. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. But like my videos, I shoot them myself. And that has been one of the most fun things to do. I want to make a point about videos though. If you go to the beginning of my feed, my videos were not like expertly done. I just turned my phone on and I was like, hi, blah, 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 blah. And then I would use some apps and just cut it up and put it on Instagram. And if you are having trouble with content on Instagram, doing a video is like the best way. You don't have to rely on a photographer. You can pretty much make content right away if you're going to make a video. And that's why I turned to video, because when I first started, I had pictures from when I was like in dental school, like 25 pounds heavier. And I was like, I'm not going to post that. So I was like, I don't have pictures right now. So I just made videos, and that's how I got started. You can easily learn how to do this. Now my video, I start like buying things. That's what happens when you start getting really into things. You start buying like equipment and getting really into it. But I look back on those videos that I did when I first started, and they are just as impactful without being like that level of quality of being like a blogger or something. You don't have to have that. You could just start.
Here's a follow-up question to that. How do you consistently come up with content? I know you addressed some of that.
Mm-hmm. It's sometimes hard to come up with content. I have in my Planoly, I write down ideas all the time. So like for me, I believe that all dentists are somewhat creative, and you just have to, when you get that creative like itch, you just have to write it. Like sometimes I'll think of an idea at 11:30 when I'm trying to sleep, and I'll just get up and I'll just put it down so that I remember that that's an idea. You just keep a notepad, because when you're actually trying to think of something, you put so much pressure on yourself to like, oh, I gotta post tomorrow, I don't have anything written. Then you like paralyze yourself and you cannot write anything at that point. And that's happened to me a lot too. Those are usually like my worst posts.
Okay, got a lot of questions here. How did you determine your avatar?
What's my avatar?
The little circle that's you?
Oh, yes. At first, I wanted to put my logo for Orange and Magnolia Dental Studio, but I ended up putting my face because it shows that you're a real person. The same concept.
Yeah, back to being genuine, authentic. Do you recommend not to share too much personal stuff?
I think everyone has their own line when it comes to sharing personal stuff. Like I have my own personal Instagram. Even though I have this one, I have another one. That's where I'm like making fun of my husband and maybe like dropping the F-bomb, or like maybe I'm on like my third glass of wine. That's, you need to have that. You need to have a separation. Everyone has a different line that they that they need to draw. And what's really important when you start Instagram is creating boundaries for yourself, because I think a lot of dentists may have experienced this. As soon as we're not working and we have the time, we end up spending way too much time on Instagram. So you need to create healthy boundaries for yourself so that you're like, this is how much I'm going to post. This is how much I'm comfortable with sharing about my personal life. Like for a long time, I didn't share anything about Byron, my husband. I have a husband, by the way. Everyone's always like, you have a husband? So yeah, nowadays I'm more comfortable about sharing about Byron, because Byron's also more comfortable about being on my Instagram as well. You have to consider all those things, but just as you go, you will define that line, and then you will redefine that line, and you'll redefine that line as you get more comfortable.
Very good point. Along the same line, I just want to make sure this question gets addressed. As professionals, where do we draw the line between posting a photo that's professional yet tasteful and one that's not? I often find I'm afraid to be judged because I'm held to a certain standard in the community.
I need an example of that. I can't give an example.
For example, I don't show any pictures of me in my Speedos. I've drawn that line very, very easily, and I'm very comfortable knowing not to do that. So again, the question is, I'm afraid to be judged because I'm held to a certain standard in the community. I think for everybody, it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, when you're a doctor, there is a little bit of a different standard, but again, it comes down to what you're comfortable with. I don't want you to be held back by being afraid that other people are going to judge you, but you have to post what you think will attract your potential patient.
Good point. From my perspective, because I deal with a lot of dentists all across the country, there's some that do not want to be seen with a drink in their hand or whatever. There's others that feel good about having a glass of wine because that might relate to their patient base. There's some that want to show the cars that they drive. There's some that absolutely will not. So that's probably it. Here's a great one, Dr. Joyce. Like to, I'd like to hire a full-time hype man. Uh-oh. Who would be a full-time hype man? I'm not for hire. Frontier has hired me. I've got a full-time job there. But who's a hype man that you would consider? You can really only hype yourself, right? I mean, that's your best hype man is yourself.
I think you should be your best hype man.
Yeah, there's a good answer. What do you think of Instagram pods, and how do you get around the feeling of it being very forced or vain? First, explain what the pod is. What's an Instagram pod?
So Instagram pod is like a group of people who basically you're like each other's hype people. When you post something, you let the Instagram pod know that you just posted something, and then they'll come and comment and like on your thing within the time frame or as soon as they can. And it's like you do it for them, they do it for you. So when I was starting to grow my Instagram, I was part of a lot of pods. Like every time someone would ask me to be part of a pod, I'd be like, okay. But I think there was a moment in time where I realized that I was only posting once a week and people were posting like every day. And every day I was spending hours and hours and hours hyping other people's stuff. And when I would post, it would take them like forever to come to my post. So I was just like, this is consuming my life. This is taking up way too much time. And so I specifically remember this moment where I was telling my husband, I was like, I'm leaving all the pods. I'm leaving because this is taking over my life. I'm spending way too much time doing this. And it's taking away from my like ability to be creative and actually do things that will help me in my Instagram growth.
Yeah. And here you created a thoughtful response, and then the other members of your pod just put up an emoji, right? How often does that happen? Okay. What do you think about cybersecurity, safety, and leaving a digital footprint?
That is something that you have to be really, really careful of. And when I talk to credence and I do like those presentations, I have worked that into my presentation because it's a precarious situation, right? We have physical addresses when we're doctors on Instagram. People can actually find us, and people can get like obsessive. Like thankfully I haven't really had that. Like actually I get a lot of creepy DMs, but they're all very sweet. They're like, your eyes are very beautiful. Nothing like really dirty, which I think surprised a lot of people, but those people can easily find you if they want. Yeah. So you have to be careful. You can't post where you're at all the time. You can't, like for instance, what I started doing, I got that pink background behind me because I stopped showing like parts of my house because I didn't want people to know what my house looked like and like how to get from one room to the other. And obviously you could see like my house is very complicated. This is my house in the background. It's very complicated. It's very hard to figure out, but it's kind of scary. You have to be very, very careful about what you put out there in terms of location and having a pattern. If you have a pattern, it's very, very easy to figure out what you're going to do next. And that's really hard for dentists, I think, because we all are very like routine-based people.
Okay.
One thing, I always lock the door in my office if I'm by myself. I used to not do that when I first took over my practice because I was like, but what if a potential patient's coming in and they want to become like a patient of the practice? Like, wouldn't that be a deterrence? It's like, no, you just have to keep your safety first.
Okay, very good. Who takes your photos? Do you hire a professional photographer?
So I have. I've had
I said your selfie photos.
So I have a selfie. I just happen to have this. I have a tripod. I have a ring light behind us. And I do a lot of the things by myself, but I also have a professional photographer that I haven't seen in quite a while. And that is the way that I handled Instagram when I was really busy last year. So like last year and the year before, I was really, really busy. Like my schedule was it was just insane. I was at USC, I was running my practice, like I had no time. So I did these professional photo shoots where I would batch content. Like I would do like a photo shoot and it would provide me with all these photos so that all I had to do was write the content. And that's how I would batch everything and make sure that I wouldn't have to like think about, oh, where am I going to get my photo for the day? Like, where am I going to get this? Should I take a selfie of myself on the train? That way everything looks professional still on my feed and something that I'm happy with.
Okay, very good. There's a lot of questions on this. I'll just kind of wrap it into one big question. How much time do you spend daily on Instagram? And I would even call it, how much time do you invest daily on Instagram?
It really depends. The days that I post, I spend probably double, triple the amount of time because I posted. And like I said, I'm responding to comments and I'm responding to DMs. So those are the days when, like, those are the specific days I've decided to post. And those are the specific days I decided to invest that time into Instagram. But the days that I don't post, those are like free game. Like I'll go on and respond to DMs every morning and try to engage with the community as much as I can. Like if you tag me, I definitely try to get to it like every morning. But there's no specific amount of time. I do though spend a lot of time compared to like the normal person. That's because I enjoy it. So if you get to the point where you enjoy it and like I talk to people that I've never met, like Perry O'Polly, I've never met her. I talk to her like all the time on Instagram. You start to develop like real friendships with people online, and we start talking about things like what it's like to be a woman in business, or like, did you install your amalgam separator? Like you start talking about things that you actually do care about. So it's fun for me.
Yeah. It is amazing the relationships that you're able to establish through Instagram. And there's nothing like it. And it's no different than if we were in a stadium full of people, right? And you're trying to establish a relationship, it's got to be a back and forth thing. We just happen to do it digitally across the world. So do you remember in our talk the other day, the saying I had when it comes to posting? Don't post and ghost, right? An easy way to remember. You know, if you post and ghost and you go away, then you're not engaging with your followers and your audience. Okay. We have so many questions. We're over an hour, but it looks like people are staying on, so we'll keep asking. Dr. Kong mentioned something about her Instagram being triple password protected. How is this done? I've heard of Instagram accounts getting hacked, deleted. Don't know if there's an additional feature we're not utilizing.
No, I was just exaggerating. It's double password protected though. So if you go onto your privacy settings or security settings, you can just like turn it on. And if anyone is getting onto your Instagram, like you'll get an email and there's just like a process they have to go to. Mine didn't always used to be like that. But at a certain point, people kept posting that their Instagrams got hacked. And I was like, I just spent all this time growing my Instagram. Like there is no way that my Instagram is getting hacked. So yeah. I just put that extra security. And here's the thing, you cannot have that security on if you're using a bot or automation, because those need to access your Instagram. So this is like a security measure that you need to put up so that all the time that you've invested is protected.
Okay. Here's a good one that always comes up in my discussions. Which is better, Instagram stories or permanent posts for attracting people to your account? Or are they both important in their own way? So stories or feed posts?
Both. Can you guys still see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look at this analytic right here,
Mm-hmm.
I posted Tuesday and Thursday. It's very clear. That's why I have a spike, and that's why my discovery is up on those days. Even if, like, I've done experiments on this, let's say that I was super extra active on my Insta stories, but I didn't post anything that week, this whole graphic is dead. You have to post. Posting is the best way to bring the eyeballs to your Instagram, like new, fresh eyeballs. But stories is where it goes down, right? Like that's how people get to know you as a person, and not as like this super polished person that they see on the feed. Like all of my my Instagram photos, it's like me on my best day. Yesterday, when Gil took a photo of me on this, when we were FaceTiming, like, I did not look like this, and I did not look like any of these photos. I look like trash. So,
But I respected
that's me on my best day.
I respected your narrative. There's no way I was going to put Joyce the dentist on a story without makeup and all that. So,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, on my feed, I do want to look like my best self, but on my story, I'm okay without the makeup and the filter. Like if you watch my vlog, I look horrible a lot of the time, but that helps people get to know me as a person.
yeah, it
And so
makes you real.
getting to know you as a person is really important for the stories. You have to do both.
Okay. Here's a question. Hello, is it okay to engage with current patients in replies, HIPAA-wise? So if you're replying to a patient,
It's funny because I actually do have a lot of patients who follow me on Instagram. Like, anyways, one of my patients just messaged me yesterday. He's like, my appointment was supposed to be today and I missed my dentist. I was like, oh, thank you. Like that, I don't document in Open Dental, which maybe you should, but anytime people ask me anything that has to do with like dentistry, yes, I do.
okay. In your experience, what percentage of Instagram patients actually become long-term patients and commit to treatment? And how do you best measure the ROI investing your time in Instagram? You've already said 70% of your patients come from Instagram. I don't know of any other marketing vehicle that can get you a 70% rate. Now, how many?
Every like 6 months, they're always supporting me. Like once I was ranting about Yelp on Instagram, they went on Yelp and wrote me a review to combat that bad review. Like these are your people and they're like your ambassadors, really. And on a side note, like Smile Virtual, I use Smile Virtual for a lot of my Instagram. Those patients that come in, they actually have dentists already, but they're coming to me for their cosmetic work. So they don't necessarily have to stay, but a lot of them do convert and end up becoming patients of record at my practice after they come in through Smile Virtual and I do their cosmetic case.
Okay, very good. What advice do you have to give about IGTV, Instagram TV? Because I know you use that a lot.
Yeah, I've experimented with IGTV, especially when it came out. This is the way I think about IGTV. Like, it doesn't spike your analytics as much as like a regular post. So if you can get your videos under a minute, that's going to be more helpful to you in terms of growth. But IGTV is really nice because sometimes you can't fit everything that you want to say under 1 minute. That's where you could do longer form videos.
Okay, great. Here's a big burning question for me also. How long do you think Instagram will remain a dominant platform? And what is the next platform? Will you move on to it?
A dominant platform, I think Instagram is, in my opinion, it's losing its allure that it used to have because it's not as easy to build, but it's still going to be super important when it comes to businesses and for branding. So I don't think it's like going anywhere, especially think about Instagram. Who did Facebook go anywhere? Facebook like lost its fun. All people are on Facebook, right? But Facebook owns Instagram, and Facebook is actually really, really hot again because all these dentists are on Instagram or on Facebook in the forums. So everyone has Facebook. Instagram is owned or in some way partnered with Facebook. Like Instagram's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to still invest, even if it's not like the hot platform. Right now I'm growing on TikTok. But
the question too is, do you have any thoughts on TikTok? Is this the next platform to conquer?
I think TikTok is definitely a different platform than Instagram. I still think Instagram is the best way to put yourself out there in a professional way. There are ways to do that on TikTok, but the reason why TikTok is very, very hot right now is because it's easy to grow on the platform. And one day TikTok will reach that like level where Instagram is right now, where it's harder to grow. And so the lure will also be gone there. Like all of these things go in a cycle. TikTok, if you can figure out how to promote your business through it in a good way, then it's a nice platform because it's easy to grow.
Do you have to be able to be a good dancer to be on TikTok?
I'm not a good dancer.
Okay, that was my question.
Like there are dentists that are like killing it on TikTok, but it makes sense because their potential patient is like a pediatric patient or like a younger patient. Like orthodontists are killing it on TikTok because they're capturing the attention of children or people who are like 10 and below, 14 below.
Okay. Here's a couple of good ones. How do you deal with haters, people that are just hating for the sake of hating?
Oh, that's easy.
You don't have haters. I mean,
I don't even deal with them. I just delete them.
Yeah.
I just block them.
Just a quick swipe. Don't even engage them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard, especially in the beginning. You should have seen me growing this stupid Instagram account, right? Like sometimes I would get messages and I would be so upset and I would be so sad. And people are just mean. But these days I've grown to a point where I can separate the need to promote my business and the personal attacks that I get on Instagram. And being able to separate and create boundaries is very, very important for like your emotional health, because you know, you have to do that. You have to protect yourself. Anytime I'm not feeling happy on the platform and in life in general, I change something. Like if I don't like the way my Instagram is going, if something is stressing me out or I feel, if I'm not happy, like it's not my happy place, not something like where I wake up and I'm like, oh, I want to be on Instagram. I got to change something about it. So I delete those comments. I block those people. Like they do not get to exist in my world because this is my world and I have control.
Yeah, good for you. You know, my philosophy on that is, why should we entertain people that are haters, right? You shouldn't have access to my stuff if you're going to be that way. And it's just a quick swipe. How do you approach allowing videos of patients?
That's something I've been working on too. I go through a process that I learned in Smile Virtual, where your patient is essentially a model rather than a patient at that point. So you have them sign all this paperwork and yeah.
Okay, here's one. How do you decide to delete posts? It seems like you're always curating your feed.
Yeah, I always archive posts that don't make sense to me anymore and don't express my brand in the way that I want it to. So like, this is what I suggest for a lot of dental students too. Like grow your brand right now, grow your brand, but at a certain point you have to go back and archive some of the stuff you don't want floating around anymore when you become like a full-fledged dentist. It's not gonna, I mean, I've grown so much, I've evolved so much from the moment that I started that some of those beginning posts that I had, I just don't identify with them anymore. So you have to archive them.
Okay. As a dental student, I never thought I can already start putting myself out there on Instagram until you mention it. What type of post should a dental student deliver?
I think, I did a YouTube video on this, so you guys can go watch my YouTube video on it. But I think it's really cool that dental students are getting in the practice of sharing themselves without any real agenda. So when you're in dental school, it's nice because you don't have an agenda. You're just sharing your life. You're sharing how much you're learning and how much you are excited to become a dentist. But then once you become a business owner, it's like there's a lot of pressure all of a sudden because you're using something that used to be like so fun for you, and now it's to promote a business. So my suggestion when you're in dental school is just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep learning more about the platform, the way that people think, keep posting, figure out what kind of doctor you want to be. Let people know what you're experiencing. Like there is nothing too small to post when you are just sharing your journey. And that's like the fascinating thing about watching vlogs and stuff. Then when you become a dentist, you can obviously go back and archive things. You can rebrand yourself. Like that's the point at which you will change things for yourself.
Okay.
Or maybe in that last year of dental school, you can start to shift the momentum a little bit.
How to prepare bulk content in terms of meal prepping content? You covered that a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think for really, really busy people, a photo shoot looks like it takes so much more time, but it's actually like a huge time saver. I did three or four photo shoots the entire year last year, and that's what lives in my phone. Every time I write something, I just choose a photo. That's how easy it is. So it looks like it takes a lot of time, but it's actually a time saver. And then you just write. What I usually recommend is writing out at least 5-ish topics to talk about and pair it with a photo, and then have at least like 10 photos that are ready to go. The other thing is nowadays we're posting more like real time, like putting the Insta back into Instagram. So sometimes just feel it out, and you don't have to necessarily bulk. You should have those waiting for you, but you should also feel like you can post in the moment.
Okay. Just as a time check, we've been at this almost an hour and a half. There's still some questions rolling in, and some are starting to repeat. Looks like the majority of you are staying on, so thank you. You're still delivering great information. So we'll probably get through another few pages of questions here. Thanks for the amazing presentation. What's your take on Instagram hashtags?
So with Instagram, you get 30 hashtags, and I basically do my hashtags in a very simple way. I know you can use, there's apps that you can use like Flick Tech and stuff to figure out like how popular a hashtag is, et cetera, et cetera. But I just do mine in a very, very simple way where I'm copying and pasting out of like my notepad, because I don't have time. So my hashtag strategy is usually like, you have to hashtag yourself, by the way. I see a lot of people not doing this, and you are building a brand. So you should be hashtag Joyce the Dentisting all the time. That's your first hashtag. Then after that, I have a few hashtags that I always claim, that I always want to show up first for. Like the OC dentist, I'm always on that hashtag.
You dominate that hashtag.
Freaking kill that hashtag. So anyone who's looking up that hashtag, you will see me all over that page, and it's because that's my hashtag. Then there are ones that are like location specific, where a potential patient, you have to think what a potential patient is going to look up. So like I put Costa Mesa dentist, Newport Beach dentist, and a few other things, like things that you offer that you think a patient is going to look up. Like I've had patients find me through OC veneers. And then you want to put a few hashtags that are pertaining specifically to your post. I don't do a ton of hashtags these days. I think like doing like all 30. I used to think, oh, if you do all 30, you're going to spread yourself to more people. But these days, Instagram is seeing that as more of like spammy. So the posts tend to do better if your hashtags are like half the amount of that.
How do you decide who your target person is? You're very specific when you said who was your target, and one of the questions, how do you decide?
That is the type of patient that I feel I want to work on, that I connect with and I personally like. So that's how I've defined that person. And it's oddly enough, that person is like me, right? So that's the best way to feel authentic about what you're doing. Because when I first started my Instagram, if I look back on my first stories, or I don't know, look back on my growth, I used to show up acting more like a doctor or acting more like a professional. And the more that you follow me, the more that you see that this is just like the way that I talk. And I used to take out all the likes and the ums and then, you know, make it super polished, like what a doctor would sound like. But these days, this is who I am. And because I am so myself, I'm attracting that person, and I'm also attracted to that person. So it works.
Okay, makes sense. Here's a good one. I work in a busy office. I do not have time to create and post content 3 times a week and follow up with every Instagrammers. If I must delegate someone else to manage my social media brand, what qualities should this person have to be successful?
We always get that question, right, Gil? But I think that if something is important enough to you, then you'll do it. And like, let's say that my assistant, by the way, she's awesome. She takes some of my photos in the office, but I can't give this work to her.
Yeah.
like, uh, nobody will listen. If we lived in a world where like you could just hire people to do the work that you could do, things would
It's
be
not
so
you.
easy.
Yeah.
Not you. What
No,
do you think,
it's
Gil?
not you. Okay. Um, let's see. We already did the who takes your photos. What app do you use to edit photos or videos?
For videos, I use InShot, and these days I'm using Final Cut Pro. You don't need to do that, but for like the first 2 years, maybe a year and a half, I used InShot, and it's a free app. But I did pay to remove the little watermark at the bottom. Let me see. For photos, I have like this weird Chinese Chinese app that makes you look like a little bit more glowy. It's called Beauty. And I have Facetune, obviously, and those are the only two that I have. But I have some that are offloaded. Like I have one called Faded that has the filter and stuff on it. Not for your face, but like so that it looks cohesive with your feed. And then I have one called Retouch, where if you have like scissors or something in the background here, you can actually just like cut that out and take it away so that your photo, all eyes go to what you want to direct your attention to rather than like all this random stuff in the background.
Remember the first time we took a selfie and I didn't have the filter on? You had to teach me about filters. So it's very important to use filters, apparently.
Yes, I love filters. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with using a filter. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But yeah, Gil,
Okay.
have to use a filter
I
when you're
will always use filters around you. Okay, here's a couple that's age related. What do you think patients over 50 would like to see on Instagram? What content would be interesting to them?
Oh, this is a good one because that is one of the moments where I had like aha moment. When I first started my Instagram account, that's when you start noticing like who's actually liking, like everything is still very slow where you start noticing who's commenting, who's liking, and it's not like fast paced. I noticed that someone named, I can't say their name, but it was like the name of someone in my practice. And so I was like, huh? And I clicked on it. It was like a 75-year-old woman who like literally, I swear she doesn't have an iPhone. She doesn't look like she has an email address, but she had liked my photo. And I was like, what in the world? But she started following me, and I took over an older practice that came with patients of her age. And ever since I started posting on Instagram, she started opening up to me because I was sharing about myself first. And then she could read all of my posts and get to know me better on the platform. So like it really changed our relationship in the office. Every time she'd come to see me, she would like open up. It didn't necessarily have to be educational. Like older people, they think it's fun to read about what you're going through and your personal experiences. Like when you start talking to old people, like you'll notice that they can talk about anything.
I'm an old people.
Old people. I love it.
So here's one. Thank you for the great presentation. Does this work for middle-aged folks that don't look like models?
Hey, I said that. Like if you're 50 and if you're a 50s male and you don't wear quartz figs, like, yeah, you can do it. You just have to do it in a way that's authentic to you. Like look at the Instagram accounts of the people who have been on this series, like Rob Soto. He has his own like look and feel too, right? Like he's very defined of who he wants to show up as on this platform. Dr. Brian Harris, he's killing it on this platform. You know, guys can do very well on this platform. In fact, I feel like this platform has been so dominated by women. When guys are on, I notice a lot of my guy friends, they grow really fast because there aren't as many guys, whereas girls are everywhere, all over the platform. It's harder to compete.
Okay, what are your thoughts? I know you covered some of this. What are your thoughts on starting a new Instagram page versus transforming your personal page to build the brand as a dentist?
A few thoughts. See, people have asked me this before, and it really depends. If your personal Instagram page is like super personal, like like you wouldn't be proud to have any of that stuff as a business, so you can't even convert it, then I would just start fresh with a new business account. And it really depends how many followers you have, but realize that when you start converting things to business account, even if you have personal friends following you on that new business account, they can drop off. Like when I started my business account, I invited all my friends, but not all my friends follow me on my business account. They just follow me on my personal account because that's like how they know me. They don't want to see all this business, like dental stuff all the time, because, you know, what we post is authentic to our voice, but the tone is different depending on what account you have. Like my Joyce the Dentist is me with my doctor hat on, even though I'm very much like more relaxed in it. It's different than how I would act on my personal account still, like really different than my personal account. Both of those are me, but the tone is different because the audience is different. So it really depends how big you've grown your Instagram account already. And if you've started putting out content already that is meant to attract your potential patient, how many of those people are following you? If it's just like a purely personal account and it has like 100 people, just start from scratch. But if you have been investing the time into it and it was like once a personal account, then just start archiving and creating a new story for yourself. It's never too late to reinvent yourself.
Okay. How did you start to be an ambassador of brands? Did you reach out to them or did they reach out to you?
Um, this is one of those funny things is like when I first started growing my account, I was like, I want free scrubs. I want free scrubs. And there's this girl named Courtney in one of my classes at USC. I was like, how many followers did you have before you got free scrubs? And so like, that was what I was like obsessed about. And then once I hit those numbers, I was like, how come nobody's asking me to like join Wear Figs or Metalita or whatever? And I had gone to the point where I was like 10,000 followers. I was like, how come no one's asking me? Like, I'm so marketable. Like you start taking it personally. And then I realized all these people, they're presenting themselves to brands. Yes, a lot of brands do come up to me and like pitch themselves to me. And they were doing that too, but it never seemed to be the brand that had my eye on. The brand that you have your eye on, just pitch yourself to them.
Okay. How'd you become a Frontier brand ambassador? Happy hour number 4 or 5.
I
I'll
think
tell you what I looked at.
luck. Huh?
What's that?
It's just luck.
Now, from my perspective, and again, I looked at what does Joyce the dentist stand for? She stands for when you've built your brand, you stand for aesthetics, you stand for caring, responsible dentistry, and high-end cosmetics, just like you've said of your target audience. So when I saw that and we started doing some work together, I said, wow, she would be a great ambassador for our brand because that's our brand, right? High aesthetics, cosmetic dentistry, transforming lives, and doing so in a caring, responsible manner. So it was an easy decision for us to say, I've got to be affiliated with Joyce the dentist somehow. That's going
Am
to be.
I like a real ambassador for you guys?
You're in our the Gill Ambassador program. Let's put it that way. You have our
I'm a
mug and all
fan.
that. So, but that's what I would look at if I was a manufacturer of something. And in our case, we work together as partners in cosmetic dentistry, and that's what I looked at. What does she stand for? And is it something that I want representing me out there? And the answer is an obvious yes. Great cosmetic dentist, great message, and obviously great appeal. So I'm going to go back to our chats here. I think we've covered most of the questions now. We just want to say there's a lot of people in the house from all over. Wow, Cambodia, California, San Diego, Trinidad, Korea, pre-dent from Korea, Maryland. So Joyce, you really attracted quite a few people here. From my couch in Culver City, awesome, Toronto, Canada. This is so exciting. Here's a question that is in here somewhere. Why are you so willing to share this information, such a valuable information? Why are you willing to share it to everybody, your secrets and everything? I mean, you've been so
I,
great for that.
I don't know. I just like it's stuff that people ask me all the time, and I don't mind. Like I overshare a lot on my Insta story, but I don't mind. I don't care about sharing. Again, you could share like all your secrets to doing everything, but it's up to the person to want to do it themselves. And once you're at that point and you're trying to grow, like I get so many messages from people who are trying to grow, and I don't mind answering them either, because you have to stop thinking in like this like scarcity mindset. And that's, I think, why my whole Instagram has grown, is because I'm not afraid to share and I'm not keeping all the secrets to myself. You have to want to help people along their journeys too. And you always have to get in the mind of giving before receiving.
Good for you. Yeah. It's that abundance mindset. And somebody just commented, blessings for sharing. This stuff is hard, but obviously you're sharing it. A lot of people have asked, is this going to be recorded? Yes, it'll be on our website. I'll have the replays later on this afternoon. We're going to show a lot more of what Dr. Joyce has talked about here. I'm sure there's lots of shout outs. When we repost those, that'll have our replay link. Zach is already working on it now. And let me give you a couple parting words. A lot of people are thanking us. Why did we bring this to you? Again, from our standpoint is we wanted to give you something that's going to help you when we're past COVID. In fact, for the last 2 hours, we've forgotten about COVID and Corona and all that, haven't we? So thank you so much for helping us with that, Dr. Joyce. And again, it's that abundance mindset from our standpoint, that what can we do to share with our people out there? Even though you're students, we put a lot of effort in this. We just want people to get better. And that's why we've done all of the other webinars. And so it feels good from our standpoint that it's mission accomplished for us, because when we started this, we wanted to be able to provide the best in the business. And obviously you've heard from Joyce. I can see why you're a professor now. We all saw Professor Joyce up here giving us a great lesson in Instagram and branding. And make sure you look out for your links. That'll have more information from Joyce, the books, as well as the courses that she's offering, okay? Dr. Joyce, any parting words from you?
Nope. Again, thank you everyone for being here. Like, even if it's like 2 a.m. in Korea, like I really, really appreciate it. And I'm just so thankful for everyone for taking the time. It means a lot to me.
There's still hundreds in the room and everybody's saying thank you so much. So it's been our pleasure. And Dr. Joyce, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and your sharing of your abundance mindset with us here at Frontier Fridays. Okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.